Science, education, pedagogy, development. These are some of the most important issues that we're going to be discussing today on the developments that are taking place from education to the world. Today, I have the privilege and distinct honor to have with us the rector of Neapolis University Pafos, Professor Pantelis Sklias. My name is Dr. Marios Efthymiopoulos. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Strategy International. And this is Prime Analysis. Dear Rector, dear Professor Pantelis Sklias, thank you very much for joining us at another web series of Strategy International.
Dear Marius, many thanks for the invitation. It's a clear pleasure to be with you today. I know that we're going to speak about very interesting topics.
Indeed. It's a great pleasure to have you here because, as you correctly put, we're going to have a lot of things to say, considering also the regional approaches, the developments, the challenges, but also the opportunities. But before we actually go into the actual...
It's true that we are living in very interesting times.
Yeah, of course. So before we actually go into these discussions, it is common here at Strategy International to start with the young Pantelis, in this case, the young student, the young person who has a vision about his life on how did we reach to today being a rector of a university, namely Neapolis University Pafos. How did you end up with all these travels around Europe, around the world, in the Middle East as well? Your experiences.
Well, I would say that many coincidences have happened, but of course those coincidences is not something that can be considered independently from the efforts, from the vision that each individual may have in her own life, and the same has happened with me as well. So you want me to start from my very young age, so I go back to my 16 or 17 years old, when I wanted very much to become, to study the phenomenon of international relations, international politics. Those days I did not know very much about international political economy, which is my field of expertise, which at the end I learned about in the University of Sussex. So I started in the Department of International Studies at Pantelis University of Athens. Then I followed my master's and my PhD at the University of Sussex, UK, and there I learned what international political economy means. In the meantime, I was glad enough and lucky enough, that's why I'm saying that coincidences are happening, to get to know to the civil society, to the civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, developing cooperation, European Union development policy. So even when I was a student, it happened I was a volunteer, but a quite active one. So I found myself in Zambia and Zimbabwe when I was 20 years old.
Nice.
I had the chance to meet Kenneth Kaunda, and I also started working with various development projects in Africa, even when I was 21 or 22. So thereby I did my first turn in terms of my professional vision, and instead of let's say my willingness and my vision to become a diplomat, then I thought that becoming a diplomat is very bureaucratic for my nature, my nature and my personality. So I wanted something more flexible, more active and more passionate. And this is how I entered the world of development cooperation policies. This is how I started working in the Balkans in those turbulent times back in 1997, 98 until 2007. I found myself working for the European Agency for Reconstruction, for European Community Humanitarian Office. I was active in internally displaced persons projects in war-torn and war-affected areas, mainly in the Western Balkans, but not only, Northern Iraq, Iran, India. So I may tell you very different experiences. But at the same time, I will stop my monologue in
No,
10 seconds.
please.
At the same time, since I also finished my PhD, I had the academic path always
In your mind, in the
at the
back
back
end,
of my mind, and then it gave me the opportunity. The Democritus University of Thrace, which, as you know, is very close to the borders with Turkey, a very special department, the Department of International Economic Relations and Development, to become an assistant professor in international political economy.
The reason why we saying this, I mean, we've been working together. Actually, we have to say to our audience that we've been working together for many years in a variety of capacities. But the most important thing is that the reason why we say about life is you still learn things about one you didn't know. For example, I didn't know you were in Zambia. You went in Africa. You've seen this, which makes it quite interesting in the following discussions that we're going to have, especially for what is happening around our region. I also know that university always was on the back of your mind, especially because you wanted to write about it, and your writing skills, especially your books on political economy and the development process, also your skills in the political affairs. One has to see the world and envision how the world is in order to promote the changes that are happening. So, hence why the discussion of those things. But I guess these elements have shaped not only the will to become an academic, but actually transpire this to your students. Tell us a bit about this.
I would say I'm one of those academic university professors who managed. Well, I don't know if it has been a successful or a less successful way, but this is something that history will judge afterwards.
Okay.
But I think that I have managed to sufficiently combine the theory and the academic work with practice and professional experience.
Indeed.
So at various and different levels. So I mean, back in 2004, I had the opportunity to get involved into the political think tanks world, if I may say so. In 2007, I had the opportunity to serve the Greek government, and then in 2013 until 2016, I had I would say the unfortunate experience because Greece was in a turmoil those years.
Yeah,
that's why I'm
financial
talking about
crisis,
an unfortunate, but still an experience to work with the European Union Task Force and the German technical assistance in order to promote reforms in local administration and local government in Greece and the Republic of Cyprus. Then we met in Dubai,
Right.
whereby I had the chance, together with you, to be at the American University in the Emirates. I was then appointed also a member of the Quality Assurance Agency in higher education here in the Republic of Cyprus. And then,
Your skills are becoming more and more technical in
yes,
nature, and I think that led you also to the university, right?
yeah, I mean, okay, I would say that I come from practice towards academia rather than academia
Right.
towards practice. So then Neapolis University Pafos came, and then we met again at
Years
Neapolis.
later.
And here we are now.
Excellent.
But I think that you are doing very interesting things as well, because Strategy International is a great initiative, and I think that you are one of those also academics who also manage to combine the theory with practice. So we have parallel paths. And
But yours is more interesting, considering the fact that I have not done Africa, I have not done India as well. But the most important element in this case is actually that practice. The reason why I'm saying those things is how important it is to teach and educate young students or even PhD level students on the practical skill set. We've seen in our programs, we're establishing more and more practical skill sets, experiences. The level of our students are practitioners already, from the bachelor's level and going to the master's level and the PhD levels. So tell us a few things about Neapolis University. Because the reason why we join forces is because it expands, it matures, it grows. A young university, ambitious, I could say, with a very good rector, yourself.
Thank you.
Who has done quite many changes and develops it. Tell us a few things about this experience, if you want, so far, and your personal touch at the university level.
Well, Neapolis University Pafos, as I say, is a very young university. It's not only a young university, it's only 14 years old university. Nevertheless, it is, as the data show, the fastest growing university in Cyprus. But I think and I hope that this growing element is not restricted only in numbers,
Right.
but it also has to do with the enhancement and deepening of quality assurance,
Exactly.
regulations, principles, and guidelines. Because from the one hand, you have to go with the numbers and you have to be sustainable, but I mean financially sustainable, but at the same time, you also have to serve the main principles and the main raison d'etre of a university, of a higher education institution, which is actually the diffusion of the existing knowledge from the one hand and the creation of new knowledge on the other hand. Neapolis University Pafos, and I think that we are doing this quite sufficiently. One more quality element for Neapolis University Pafos is actually the contribution, the significant contribution of this university in the social and economic cohesion, not only of the region of Pafos, but also our contribution to the Republic of Cyprus, to the cohesion of the Republic of Cyprus. And that was the main reason why we reached and why we were chosen to be part of a European University Alliance called eMERGE, whereby M stands for margins.
Right.
So this means that the famous triangular operation of the university, which is research, society, and teaching, in our case is somehow reversed and society goes first. So our aim and intention, as well as our vision, is to serve the community. Engagement, social engagement is our way to do so. And of course, contribution to social and economic cohesion is one of the main priorities. And of course, I have to say that this is the vision of the founder of the university, the late Michalakis Leptos, who was visionary to establish this university in very turbulent times back in 2009, 2010.
And I must say that you have done an amazing job, considering that eMERGE, from its moment of alliance of the 9 universities, if I'm correct, has managed also to secure research funding, which is very important to the European level.
Well, let me say first only a few words about this emblematic initiative, as I usually say it, of the European Union and consequently of the European Commission, the European University Alliances.
Right.
The last 7 years, 64 European University Alliances have been formed and have been funded by the European Union.
A milestone.
It's a milestone, yes. It's a milestone in higher education. Don't forget, considering that higher education is part of I would say the national sovereignty of the member states. So this means that establishing and forming 64 European University Alliances, which have been funded almost 15 million euros each one of them, involving something like 550 universities at the European level. So creating such a formation of 64 European University Alliances actually is a sound background for, I would not say the unification of higher education policies, but I would say for the mainstreaming and streamlining of higher education priorities from the one hand, but also research priorities on the other hand. And in our case, the eMERGE European University Alliance, we intend to create this mode of university, this type of university structure, processes, guidelines, principles, which will be able to reflect the particularities and the specificities of universities which are functioning in the margins.
Right.
So the 9 universities that are forming this alliance are actually universities that are functioning in the margins, and social engagement and social contribution is among the main elements of their functioning.
Just to clarify, when we say margins, we mean geographical margins of the European Union.
Yes.
And it actually makes sense both in the strategy and also goals and objectives and operations, which differs also from the rest of the alliances. I mean, one of the reasons why this alliance is comprised about from these universities that have clear objectives which differ by themselves, and again, the way of presentation to the European Union overall on the application of the program. So the program itself matures even further the university itself, because now we're talking about practical research, applied research, if I may dare to say. And that applied research requires the university itself, faculty, students, administration, the whole thing, to mature even more. So what is your vision as a rector, considering the fact that we have programs in English, we have programs in Greek, separate, bachelor's, master's, and PhD levels? What is the vision of the rector, and what is the vision of the university overall?
The vision, I would say that the vision of the rector cannot be different of that one of the university.
But you surely
and vice versa. Of course, I believe in the role of the personality and the role of the leadership, without of course exaggerating.
Right.
I would say that I would prefer to be a little, if I may say, humble in this. Right. So I want to have a university that serves its basic traditional university principles.
Right.
As I said,
as based on its
diffusion of existing knowledge,
right,
in a sufficient, academically proper, I would say, way, and on the other hand, creation of new knowledge, while at the same time significant contribution to the social and economic cohesion of the Republic of the World. In this framework, what we are doing, give me only a minute. What we are doing, we are, as I said, we are developing from the one hand, but we are continuously investing on capacity and institution building. Since quality also has to be a very prominent preoccupation in our functioning and in our everyday job. To make it more eloquent, we are very proud that nowadays we are actually running an undergraduate program of civil engineering in China.
Right.
We are currently having 250 students, undergraduate students, studying in English with Neapolis University Pafos professors located in China, and they will receive a Neapolis University Pafos degree. Those 250 Chinese students, they are fully integrated in our learning process mechanisms, our LMS platforms, teaching opportunities, etc., etc. And we are planning to further expand China with additional programs, but at the same time with additional resources and additional investment. At the same time, I would dare to say that we are a hub of joint programs.
Right.
We are working together with Greek public universities. I can give you some examples.
Please.
We are working jointly to offer joint programs. This is very important. It is not only limited to exchange of students. It's joint offering of joint academic programs. So we are working together with the University of Athens. We are working together with Piraeus University, with Democratic University of Thrace, the University of the Peloponnese, the University of Western Macedonia, the Hellenic Mediterranean University. So,
and all are accredited degrees and equivalent to the
100%, because
and European standards.
Exactly. So because in the Republic of Cyprus, you cannot offer a degree unless it is accredited by the Quality Assurance Agency of Cyprus. At the same time, we will be offering undergraduate degree in law with the University of Reading,
right,
and a postgraduate degree LLM in international commercial law with the University of Reading. University of Reading is a high-class university, highly ranked, 170 in the world, and that's also an additional milestone. An additional milestone for having such a highly ranked university trusting us
May I dare to say, we pointed out an interest to become also students again in the legal department.
Exactly.
In the legal school.
Yes, we have this idea.
Yes.
We have to see, of course, the check and balances.
Of course.
This is something, I agree with you, that this is something very attractive and of course very demanding, especially in relation to our quality assurance regulations. But for us, this is a milestone. And of course, we must not forget the fact that we are very committed and very currently hardly working on the establishment and the functioning of the medical school of the Neapolis University Pafos. That will take place very, very soon. Believe me, in partnership and in collaboration with various prestigious institutions.
And tell me a bit about the medical school. I know you've been investing a lot of time, both the leadership of the university itself and you as being part of this leadership for the medical school. I know this is a game changer for another major milestone. And I know that the ownership of the university as well, the Leptos Group, has an invested interest on this, but more so invested interest to give back to the community, a community that is vastly developing in Pafos. But it is also becoming a point of convergence between business, education, and a political society. Let me say a society that is very interested and keen in the further expansion in the corner edge of the European Union. Let me say this.
Leptos Group, which is one of the most prominent business groups in Cyprus, I can give you many examples why this is a fact. One of the sectors, besides, of course, real estate, development, land development, hospitality, tourism, events management, property management. One of the sectors that the Leptos Group is very much involved is the health sector.
Right.
And
with a clinic already.
Exactly. Right? They already functioning a clinic, and which is part, of course, of the official health system here in the Republic of Cyprus. Simultaneously, we are part, Neapolis University Pafos is part of the Leptos Group, so it's a great combination, having a hospital and having a university to go ahead in this project, which is again is part of the vision of the founder of the Leptos Group, Michalakis Leptos, the late Michalakis Leptos. So I think that it's a great coincidence. The university has become quite mature, has been extending constantly, has been expanding, constantly. I think that we are at this stage that we can face the challenge of establishing a medical school, which is a great responsibility. It is a game changer, but at the same time,
it affects the whole country.
It is a great responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think that this is something what we are actually doing in Neapolis University Pafos. I mean, the international exposure, the various partnerships, bringing here our highly ranked universities, I think that also fully consistent and compatible with the political priorities of the Republic of Cyprus, which is actually to become a hub of higher education provision services. So again, this is something for which we are very glad, to serve and to contribute to the achievement of this objective, which is not only a political objective in terms of, in political terms, if I may say so, but also in economic terms, but most importantly in social terms. So I think that this is something that all this constellation of elements come together, and I think that Neapolis University Pafos tends to be at the forefront of this challenge.
It is extremely important to raise this awareness for a simple reason. Over the time that we have been talking, you mentioned about the whole leadership vision of where is Neapolis and where it is going, but most importantly, I've been very cautiously listening to your words that you are putting, because I'm adding your practice and your experience from life, the initial first part of our discussion, into the embedded elements of the strategic vision of the university. And you're very cautious in your words, which is very good. The vision is, as you said in the beginning, one of the most developing universities may I say, in Cyprus, if not in Europe, considering that everything what you just said right now is extremely positive. Like everything happens for a reason, and one leads to the other, and now there's a flower that blossoms. That's how I envision, if you want, I see the potential, the way that you have described the university. Now, let me say another thing. Let me just go a bit and narrow down into our department. We both belong to the Department of History, Politics, International Studies. I was very glad to join you by your invitation, for which I thank you very much. And we are the Department of History, Politics, and International Studies. Over the last 2 years, we have reaccredited the current programs for the next period of time, for the next 5 years period. And at the same time, we created new programs altogether, the faculty under your leadership. With regards to a new bachelor's degree, a PhD, and goes on and on and on. Tell us a few things about the department, and we can say a few things about our home, if you want, of the daily operational business.
Well, actually, you are the head of the department, so what has happened in this department is under your leadership, not my leadership. We both follow the vision that jointly we share, and I'm very glad that you joined us, and I'm very glad that you are leading this very interesting department, especially because we have to constantly offer analysis, research on a series of contemporary issues.
Right.
And at the same time, we have, at this stage and in this field, we have to be even more mature, because analyzing and trying to assess the impact and the consequences of events that are currently happening, this creates additional obstacles which are not very much related to the ones that we are facing in the traditional research.
Right.
So, predictions, analysis in the
Risk
on
assessment.
sensitive
Yeah.
issues,
Yeah.
I think it entails many more difficulties. Now, I think that we are all doing as a team. We have very good colleagues. We have young colleagues, dynamic ones, very well scientifically and academically equipped, and I think that we are providing them the required academic, theoretical, to our student community, theoretical and academic background that is required for this kind of exercise. But at the same time, due to the nature of our colleagues and their experiences,
we multiply.
Yeah, exactly, and the fact that we are managing to attract very good human resources, we have the possibility also to combine practice with academic knowledge. It is not by accident or by chance that in our degrees, undergraduate and postgraduate, and now with PhDs, we are also having, as members of our student community, people who are already active professionals,
Right.
from the military, from politics,
International
international
legal
institutions, non-governmental organizations.
Yeah.
So this is a great constellation of people gathering together in this department, and I'm sure that with our newly established PhD, both in modern contemporary history, but also in international relations security, I'm very sure that we will also contribute to the innovative research. And I'm very also glad that we are contributing to the public discourse.
Right.
It's very nice that our people, our colleagues, and yourselves, but also the other colleagues are very much invited to participate in the public dialogue, which is in a very, of course, argumented and constructive way. And I think that this is also a very important contribution of this department. The participation also and the membership in the European College of Security and Defense, besides being a recognition of the work that is currently done in the department, I think it is also an additional motivation, an additional tool to further enhance the capability of the department and the involvement in the greater community of international relations and security.
It is true that when I joined the university, you were talking very much greatly on the public discourse, the importance to get outputs which are practical in nature. And I concur on this, not only the need to do it, but also the need for the youngest generation, as we grow older and more mature, in developing a policy process that actually provides results and provides solutions, but also give options to our graduates. And that is very important. The second thing is collaboration between faculty. And I guess this is also a place where this falls under your leadership, because the teamwork of the department itself provides outcomes. And they work in very, very good and collegial ways. And then as we expand internationally, because the interest suddenly of a variety of universities, the collaborations that we have with different universities in the Middle East, in Europe, overall, not only through Emerge, but also as a standalone department, and the individual connections and the network of people that bring in, actually consists and makes one of the most developing also departments. Also, the collaboration that we have together, the agreement that we had also together to establish, if you want, a dialogue between Strategy International, also in Neapolis University, also for me played a pivotal role, not because I'm leading Strategy International, because I think that a think tank always helps the extra maturity in the post-graduation process. And this is something that we bid on. So, having said a few things about the Department of History and Politics and International Studies, let me go a bit to the practical sense. I want to ask you a series of questions where I would like to have your opinion. We live in 2025 now. Things are changing yet again. A new presidency, ongoing wars, a lot of challenges: financial, political, digital currencies, legal elements, political elements that goes on climate change, or maybe climate avoidance of change. Let's take it geographically. This web series is a dialogue from Cyprus to the world. Give me your opinion about the importance of Cyprus as a country, as an island which is located in Southeast Mediterranean, considering those challenges. How do you see the importance of Cyprus vis-a-vis Europe and vis-a-vis the rest of the world?
Well, actually, I don't believe that you are expecting me to talk about the importance of Cyprus, which has been historically proven.
Okay.
As we say in international political economy, there is always a dependency path.
Right.
And this dependency path has to do a lot with the historical background, the historical memories, and how we came in our contemporary position. So if we look backwards to the history, to the political history of Cyprus, we will understand that Cyprus has constantly been to the great attention of all great powers. Don't forget that here in Cyprus we have the sovereign bases, military bases of the United Kingdom. This is a very ample example. Now we know very well, and we are every day reading that the United States have investing quite a lot in various.
Is it because of the Middle East?
In various locations. I will try to explain why. And of course, we must never forget that we are illegally in a sovereign state whose 37% of its territory has been illegally occupied by the military invasion of Turkey.
Right.
So back in 1974. So we usually say also in the field of international relations that unfortunately Cyprus is a living laboratory of international relations. We have a constant presence of the United Nations, and if we read a little, it will not take much time. We will understand that Cyprus has always have a strategic role, a crucial, a critical role in the region. Now, why this?
It's sudden
attention,
interest.
Not interest. The attention of the states. I don't think that Cyprus was not under the prisma of of the United States of America. On the contrary, it has always been. I think that now there has been a clearer position
vis-a-vis
of
2022.
of the government, probably,
Right.
in relation to the vision of the United States of America. There is a more clear stance. I think that I would say that the revisionist approach of Turkey has helped the
Clarification.
the governments of the Republic of Cyprus to clarify, has helped them to clarify their stance towards the United States of America. All those triangular initiatives that have been taking place with Israel, with Egypt, also makes it more eloquent as a strategy mapping of the Republic of Cyprus vis-a-vis the rest of the world. So I think that now we are in a position whereby this attention has been much more focused, I mean of the United States of America, much more focused, but at the same time more eloquent to all of us.
Cyprus, being an equal member of the European Union, has to play a pivotal role with regards to the near abroad, as we used to call it in the theories of the international relations, with regards to external relations. The Middle East is changing. The war in Ukraine since 2022 is pending. It was obviously clear that Cyprus should have taken a role for Ukraine, therefore for the Western interests, because we cannot accept similar elements that has happened, because Russia called it a special operation, like Turkey called it a special operation in 74, and the story goes on. But Cyprus plays a pivotal role now with the changes in the Middle East a lot. Lebanon, the strategic relationship with Israel, the UAE, the strategic relationship between UAE, Greece, and Cyprus, the trilateral elements. What do you think of this from the point of political economy, maybe business development, maybe resolution of conflicts, and so on?
Well, in terms of international politics and economics, I think that Cyprus is a pioneering. Is quite pioneering. And I think that, again, history shows that Cyprus has always been flexible enough and extrovert enough in order to be able to overcome financial and economic crisis. And we see that even during the 10 years ago, when the whole Europe was suffering in terms of the economic stability and in terms of financial growth, Cyprus was running with a 4 to 5% growth of GDP annually. And still, Cyprus is going with over 3%. And what the challenge is actually, the challenge is to
Sustain it.
Not only to sustain, but to diversify.
Right, even more.
Yeah, exactly. To diversify
FDIs.
the risk in order to achieve sustainability. So I think that this is something that also takes place. For example, as we know, tertiary higher education is contributing to almost 4% of the GDP, not bad at all. We know that there are a variety of tax incentives, but through headquartering of big business, but in specialized sectors, like, for example, the bio sector or the technology sector. So I think that now Cyprus is undertaking a series of, I would dare to say, more selective policies to attract foreign direct investment. I think this is quite wise, and I think it's going to be quite beneficial for all the stakeholders involved in this project.
The FDI issue is a big element, considering, as you said, the growth incentives are being given. But the diversification is, I think, what remains to be done, because that will grow the FDIs also, both incoming out and outgoing, and there should be a balance.
Sure.
But I think the strategic relationship is very important from a point of financial standpoint. They did try to have a mission on economic diplomacy since 2017, 18, if I'm correct. but that requires a lot of changes within the state itself. And I think also the universities play a pivotal role with this, because the outgoing outcome of those graduates is to establish themselves to start with in the national market. Do you think that Cyprus is a hub for doing business, considering the volatility that is all around us? We're still yet to see peaceful settlements of the exchange of hostages and the end of the war in Gaza. The expansion on the fight against terrorism with Hezbollah. Lebanon has invested. People are moving their assets probably also into Cyprus as well, or elsewhere, considering that they need to be protected. Syria, that we still don't know what sort of status it will have with the fall of the Assad regime, and goes on. And also an unfinished war between Russia and Ukraine. How does this affect, do you think, Cyprus, positively or negatively, financially or politically, or even does it put it into a standpoint of negotiations, where it can play negotiations roles, like between, or mediation roles between partners?
Well, actually, each one of the points that you have raised is a PhD. So we could
We should raise it.
yes, we could spend many hours here um, talking about. But again, I will come back to to my previous standpoint. Cyprus has historically proven to be flexible and extrovert,
Right.
and we don't have a lot to say. I mean, if you imagine what happened in 1974, whereby you have a distorted country, you had a destroyed country, illegally occupied territories with the most fertile part to be in
Most
the
green and fertile.
yeah, exactly, being illegally occupied, and see where we are now. We are in a full member of the European Union, with many alliances and many activities jointly with NATO, although not a NATO member because of the veto of Turkey, but still working together closely. Now an ally of the United States of America, with a constantly growing GDP, with a lot of infrastructure, job already done. Of course, much more has to be done.
Right.
But if you compare where you were 50 years ago, only 50 years ago, just imagine, and where you are now, where you are you are in a hub of stability, political stability, economic stability, with an extroversion, with flexibility. So I think that this shows the road and the path. I don't think that Cyprus has to do anything else than what the people are doing here, historically speaking. I think that they are becoming also, in terms of policies, in terms of priorities and choices, more mature, and I think that this helps. And the fact that they are using all contemporary tools of economic diplomacy and economic policy in order to attract foreign direct investment, and at the same time become a secure hub of investments, I think that this is something that constantly is improving further. It's further improving the international and global stance of the Republic of Cyprus.
Two very simple but very important questions, where I will lead into a conclusion. Do you think all this said at this point, and I'll come back to the international, does this affect a university's operation? Does this affect not the vision so much, but rather where are we going with the business relationship vis-a-vis partnerships with other universities, potential students, potential partnerships in research and science, or even policy?
100%, 100%. I mean, I can give you some ample examples from Neapolis University Pafos. We have established the first bachelor in artificial intelligence.
Right.
I mean, the first bachelor not only in the Republic of Cyprus, but also in Southeastern Mediterranean, and one of the first ones in Europe. So this gives us a great comparative advantage. It's a great niche, but at the same time brings us together with the business community and the priorities and the challenges ahead. So I would say that this has been a kind of a revolving cycle. I mean, we have got the input from the developments in business and economy and society. So we have took the incentive, we made it within a program, and now we are ready to go back to the society and give the knowledge and the feedback.
Are involved into
Of
the
course,
policy
of course.
decision making.
Of course.
On AI, if I'm correct, the vice rector is now involved into the committee.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yes. Our vice rectors for research, Professor Sklias, has recently been appointed to the National Committee of the Republic of Cyprus for Artificial Intelligence. That's a great achievement for Savas personally, but also a great recognition for the university as well.
Indeed. And the program.
100%. So by this, I want to say that the program, that the master's degree that we are now preparing in the department that you are heading, the Department of History, Politics, International Studies. With technology, data analytics, and international national security. Again, this is a pioneering program that brings together these experiences and these challenges.
And this gives you more, if you want, an incentive of impacted practice, applied science, if I may call it like this.
I would say applied knowledge.
Applied knowledge, which will lead obviously to applied science. A last question. The trilateral relation between Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. And through this, the bilateral relation with Greece and Cyprus. We've been seeing a lot of strategic attempts to develop it deeper, their relationships. We know that we are common, equal. We're two different states, but then we share a lot of great things: history, language, nation, goes on and on and on. What do you have to say vis-a-vis the relationship with Israel, maybe also the UAE? We both spend time in the UAE also, and it has become a very important hub as well. But how do you see these trilateral and these major works taking place?
Only positively, but at the same time, we have to be cautious. We have to be patient.
Right.
I understand that it takes time to have actual and practical outcomes, but nevertheless, I can only see them in a positive way. I mean, we know very well that when there is a window of discussion and dialogue, always there is a window of opportunity, and since the opportunity is there, we must always expect the better to happen. But we know that this is not something that will happen from the one day to the other.
Right. Dear Rector, dear Professor Pantelis Sklias, my dear friend Pantelis, thank you very much for this excellent discussion that we've had. Our audience probably knows already that we are there together at the university, and I can assure you that you have done a pretty good job. Sometimes it's not only the assurance, but it's also a good job, well done so far. I said about your vision because the first discussion that we had together when I decided to join you out of your invitation, for which I thank you again, was exactly what you think, what you have in mind. It is not easy for us people, practitioners if you want, or even academics, to sometimes explain what is upcoming. It is you said it also yourself, it's very difficult to forecast something, to forecast how it's going to be. But I'm under your vision, the university, I can testify, has grown a lot. We have grown a lot. We have also matured even more. And the job that Neapolis University Pafos does under its leadership overall, and under the people that are working there, the colleagues, that student-centered, if you want, the objective and the mission that the ownership had from the beginning actually is fruitful. And I'm very thankful I've joined this university for multiple reasons. One, because it's under your leadership, so it's a personal thing. Two, because we've seen it in our own eyes, the growth. And growth is at all levels. And number three, because we enjoy our work. Sometimes work becomes too much, sometimes it becomes too little. We have to go above and beyond multiple times. But the idea is that we're there together, we're a group of people, we share the burden between us, we deliver. And I think we're passing this to our students, and we have to ensure this also in the political life of Cyprus, exactly because it gives an opportunity right now, ever before, that the politicians, the leaders of this country need to know that we're doing a good job following, if you want, the political leadership and decision making. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, dear colleague, dear friend Marios, it has been a great pleasure. I hope it will be also nice for your listeners to have a look in what we
Of course,
in what we said.
Of course.
So something useful. I hope that we said something useful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for watching another web series of Strategy International's Prime Analysis. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow into our YouTube channel and social media. My name is Dr. Marios Efthymiopoulos. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Strategy International. And remember, impact makes a difference.